right. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? All right. Well, I know I am the last speaker that stands between you and lunch, so I will try to be very mindful of your time and get you to lunch as close to on time as possible. And I know I have a tough act to follow, right? Dr. Leone is an amazing speaker, and I'll do my best. But thank you for having me this morning. Thank you for your time. As the PowerPoint's coming up, I'll just introduce myself again. I am the asthma team lead for the American Lung Association of the Mid-Atlantic. I'm based out of our Plymouth meeting office, about 22 miles north of here. I'm also the Pennsylvania Asthma Partnership Program Manager, so I work off of a grant that comes from the CDC through the Pennsylvania Department of Health. But I work closely with my colleagues in Delaware, New Jersey, around asthma, around smoking cessation. Just a show of hands, how many people are from Delaware today? Okay, excellent. New Jersey? All right, all right. I grew up in New Jersey and reside in Pennsylvania now, and I'm in Delaware all the time. Nice to be with all of you this morning. My colleague, Jen Folkenroth, is actually the master trainer for our Freedom from Smoking program. She's also our tobacco control team lead for the American Lung Association of the Mid-Atlantic. Has anybody heard of Freedom from Smoking before?
I mean, I like that one.
No? Okay, you're going to find out about it today. Did you get the handouts that came around? There's a paper clip of about 4 handouts. What I'll do while we're waiting on the, oh, perfect, it's coming. We'll go through the handouts. We're going to use these during the presentation today. The first handout is actually the Ask, Advise, Refer guide. Okay, so that's yours to keep, and we'll refer to it in just a few minutes. The second handout is going to be part of our interactive portion of the discussion. You'll see a whole bunch of people, their pictures and some scenarios that are associated with them. This is going to be part of our little breakout session where you work with a partner and work through this Ask, Advise, Refer guide. And then the next set of resources, there's 3 pages, and look up at the top under the ALA logo to find out if it's Delaware or New Jersey. You'll see the first one should be Delaware. And these are the cessation options, the one-pager that we have for the state of Delaware, and we also have one for New Jersey. I'll go through Delaware and briefly touch on New Jersey. The American Lung Association offers a Freedom from Smoking clinic. It's an evidence-based program proven to cut down or reduce dependence on tobacco. What we offer are facilitator trainings. If you ever have any interest in leading a cessation clinic at your practice in your community, there are facilitator trainings offered in Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, all around throughout the year. So that's something that is an option to you. Freedom from Smoking Plus is a newer combination of the clinic, goes through all the learning modules of the clinic, but it's also in mobile form. So you can get it on your phone, on your desktop, laptop, smartphone, includes telephone, email, texting, all of that to meet everybody's needs and to work through what they prefer, their preferred method of communication. There's a self-help manual as well. Delaware has the Quit line, and then we have a Quitters app, Quitters Circle app down below. And finally are the local cessation programs to Delaware. These might change yearly, so we try to keep them as up to date as possible. If you know of one that's not mentioned here, please let us know. And if you go to the next page for New Jersey, you'll see the same options, the same bullets at the top. And then at the bottom, we have local cessation programs around the state of New Jersey that we're aware of and we like to tune people into. Again, if you know of another cessation program that's not listed there, please let us know. We'd love to include it in our one-pager that we send out to everyone interested. And the last handout that you have today, tobacco cessation resources for teens, teen programs. The first program is from the American Lung Association. It's called NOT, or Not on Tobacco. And it's an evidence-based program for teens to reduce or quit smoking. And it's specifically for teens ages 14 to 19, and it's based off of our Freedom from Smoking program for adults. And then you have a host of programs below that. You have Smoke-Free Teen from the National Cancer Institute. You have Smoke-Free Text, also from the National Cancer Institute. You have the Quit line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW. And you have the Quit Start app, which is also from the National Cancer Institute. Most of those are free programs. The only one that's not would be our program, the NOT program. Again, we run facilitator training, so if you're working with youth, and you'd like to become a cessation counselor facilitator to help youth quit smoking, that is what the KNOT program does. And currently there's quite a few of those going on in Pennsylvania. I don't think we have any up and running in Delaware or New Jersey at the moment. But just a great list of resources, and certainly if you have questions about these at the end, I'm happy to speak with you further during your lunch break. But anyway, we'll get on with the presentation, and just keep those in front of you. I'm going to go through the first few slides quickly, and then we'll get into sort of the bulk of the presentation, the interactive portion of the presentation, where I'd like you to do some work as well, and we'll all work together. Okay? So Ask, Advise, Refer, the Brief Intervention Model. There's my title again. Okay, our disclosure. The agenda for the presentation, again, we'll go through the intervention model. We'll go through what the Ask, the Advise, and the Refer mean. We'll do some practice together. We'll conduct a follow-up, look at relapse prevention, conclusion, have time for questions and answers. It is a CDC evidence-based office protocol, Ask, Advise, Refer. Okay. And we're going to go through the Ask first. Okay. And I know you've been sitting for a while, so if you need to stand and stretch, by all means. I used to teach, and I could never sit down, and I always wanted my students to stand up and stretch and move around. So feel free if you need to do so, or just want a closer view. Ask. Ask every patient about tobacco use at every visit. Ask if the patient is a current, former, or never tobacco user. Ask what kind of tobacco is used and how often, including e-cigarettes. Remember our smokeless forms of tobacco as well. Okay? For example, are you a current, former, or never user? Response, I smoke. Do you use any other forms of tobacco, including e-cigarettes? How often? Okay. Another example, are you a current, former, or never tobacco user? Response, I used to chew. When is the last time you used a tobacco product, including e-cigarettes? Okay. Another ask, are you a current, former, or never tobacco user? Response, I've never smoked. That's great. Have you ever used any other tobacco products, including e-cigarettes, right? Remember our smokeless forms of tobacco and our electronic forms of cigarettes. Okay, to advise. Spend some time and advise here. Okay. Our goal here is to advise every tobacco user to quit. Advise those who've tried to keep trying. I don't even like to see the word failure in there. It's not a failure. It's all part of the process to becoming tobacco-free, to reduce your dependence on tobacco. Just to show of hands, how many more former smokers in the room? Okay, just a couple of us. Okay, so you think back to when you were going through the quitting process. I know for me, it took quite a few attempts to become tobacco-free. The average is about 5 to 7 quit attempts per person. We all know those people that can quit cold turkey. They wake up one morning and say, that's it. But for the majority of people dependent on tobacco, it is not that easy. And it's all part of the process. So we never want to say that one attempt is a failure. It's just one step to becoming tobacco-free and living a tobacco-free lifestyle. Okay? You always want to look for teachable moments. You always want to make things personalized to what the patient's going through, and find the positive benefits to quitting that really resonate with that patient and their condition. Okay, you want to be clear, non-judgmental, be personalized for your suggestions for helping them quit. And we'll go through some of those scenarios and how to personalize. All right. The American Lung Association sees the best results when you have a form of counseling to quit tobacco, whether it's over the phone, in person, online, via email and text, and a form of medication to help quit. That's how we see the best results, is the combination of the two. Okay, so counseling and medication. All right, employ that teachable moment. We're looking at findings, we're looking at tying it to positive benefits and being specific about what they're going through with their condition. Okay, looking at the 3 types of benefits that you can have from quitting smoking: the physical benefits, social benefits, financial benefits. Okay, these are some conditions that come up, right, with patients. And how do we take patients experiencing these conditions or dealing with, what they're dealing with, and make sense for them and help them really realize their social, physical, financial benefits that can come from this advisement. All right? An example here, tobacco users with cold or flu symptoms, right? Urging them to quit. Quitting smoking will help strengthen your body's immune system. Pretty clear to all of us in the room. You have smokers that will get sick and they won't smoke while they're sick, and as soon as they feel better, they'll go right back to the cigarette. And then you have your smokers who are have a higher dependence and can smoke right through that sickness, whatever it is. Okay, and we all know both groups of people. Okay, tobacco users with asthma. Quitting smoking will reduce irritation in your airways, lessen the possibility of an asthma attack. I've been in plenty of communities working with adults who smoke and also have asthma, didn't realize their smoking was affecting their asthma, had no idea that smoking was related to, triggering an asthma attack or asthma episodes. So just to be very mindful, as all of you are, of those conditions and the experience of the individual. Okay, your turn. Give me an example of one way you could advise a patient to quit by linking a positive benefit to quitting that would impact their specific condition for COPD. A smoker who has COPD, what's a positive benefit that could come from quitting? Anybody? Yes. Breathing will get better, absolutely, thank you. Cardiovascular disease, what's a benefit to quitting for those who have cardiovascular disease? Blood pressure drops, thank you, absolutely. Diabetes, benefit to quitting. Sugar will be better, okay? Mental health. What would be a benefit? Anxiety levels, right? Not feeling tied to that cigarette, having it control you, lower anxiety. Someone who's pregnant and smoking. Decreasing the risk? Yes. Great, thank you. Okay. Our teen tobacco users, right? Every age group presents its challenges. Teen tobacco users. Increased kissability. I'm not sure kissability is a word, but you guys get the idea, right? Okay. You want to make it relatable to teens. Certainly relatable. Improved athletic performance. More money for, not like stuff, but other things or other experiences. Movies, travel, music, you name it. It doesn't have to be stuff necessarily. More time to do what you want to do, not what the addiction tells you to do, right? Good advice for anyone. Regaining control from big tobacco's manipulation. There's a reason why 85 to 89% of new smokers are, try their first cigarette as a teenager. My first cigarette was 12 years old. There's a big reason, and tobacco companies target that market specifically. Why? What happens? You get someone smoking as a teenager, what have you just done? Get somebody addicted as a teenager, what have you done? If you're a tobacco executive. Sell more tobacco. You have a lifelong customer, right? Absolutely, absolutely. A lifelong customer. We have 2 short videos. There's a lot out there targeting teens. Don't get played while big tobacco gets paid. Let's see, can we play these? Real quick, 30 seconds each, just as an example. We'll see. If they don't come up, it's okay. I'm sure you've all have seen these advertisements and know of the Truth Campaign, other campaigns that are out there to help teens recognize the dangers of tobacco and the influence that big tobacco has over our youth. There's volume. I don't know if we can get it, but. You get the idea even without the volume, right? Okay. Don't get played while they get paid, right? That's the main message there. And this is another one. Do we have volume? Okay, okay. Thank you. It's okay. All right. So moving on. Again, the physical, social, financial benefits. Uh-oh. Okay. This should be familiar to a lot of people. Physical benefits. A lot of us have seen these bullets, but great reminders to bring up when we're offering advice, when we're talking with patients. 20 minutes after your last cigarette, you're seeing benefits. You're seeing your blood pressure decrease, your pulse is dropping, your body temperature of hands and feet increases. 8 hours, your carbon monoxide levels are going down. 24 hours, your chance of a heart attack decreases. After 48 hours, nerve endings start to regrow. Ability to smell and taste is enhanced. Okay, great physical benefits to share right away. 2 weeks to 3 months, you have circulation improving. Walking becomes easier. Lung function increases. And if you worked with people who are trying to quit, you know, if they've made it a couple weeks, they've made it a month, they can get up those stairs, they can walk, around the block, they can walk, a mile, whatever it may be. Those benefits are real and they do happen relatively quickly. Okay, 1 to 9 months, you have coughing, sinus congestion, fatigue, all the shortness of breath, it all decreases. It just depends on the dependence of the smoker. How heavy a smoker are they? It'll take a little bit longer for our heavy smokers to see those, but still, they're within reach, they're within sight. Okay, after a year, our risk of coronary heart disease is decreased by half of that of a smoker. Okay, social benefits of quitting. You tell me, based on the pictures there, or just what's a social benefit of quitting? Anybody? Kissability. I like that. Absolutely. Okay. Anything else? A social benefit. If you're a parent, you have small children, you're a smoker, what's a social benefit? They're not getting secondhand, you're a better role model. What else? Exactly. Don't have to worry about where you're going to smoke that next cigarette. You can just be where you are. Right? Anything else? Okay. Improving the air around us, right? Talked about secondhand smoke. Improving our own sense of smell and taste. Okay. Financial benefits. What do you see here? What is a financial benefit of quitting? Cigarettes are not cheap, absolutely. So you're saving money, more money in your pocket. What else? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we have a lot of HR representatives from corporations calling the American Lung Association saying, we're going to go smoke free. The health insurance premiums are going to go up for our employees who are smokers. What can you offer to, help us help them quit smoking? So health insurance premium, right? Staying the same of a non-smoker. We have cleaning products, not having to do as much cleaning in your house, in your car, wherever it is that you're smoking. More money for your family, again. Less money on medications, less healthcare costs, okay? This is a great chart, if you can see it. Okay, how much does smoking cost? This is based on a pack of cigarettes costing $7. So we can look at the average cost per day, and it starts with a half pack down to 3 packs per day. If we just look at a pack a day, we're looking at $7 a day, $49 a week. And we could look at per month, per year, an average cost in 10 years for a pack a day, right over $23,000. Take it down to 3 packs a day over 10 years. And it is an astronomical amount of money to spend on cigarettes, right? But part of the addiction. And looking at the financial benefits of becoming tobacco-free or reducing your dependence on tobacco, really spells it out really nicely as far as the financial burden and costs. Okay. What are some reasons you've heard from smokers trying to quit? Common reasons or unusual? Okay. So, right, stressor, and is she working on stopping, or she's not? She's not. Okay. So she's giving an explanation why she's not going to quit. Anybody, any common reasons or unique reasons why people would want to quit? COPD. Yeah, health. When I first started with the American Lung Association, I got trained in freedom from smoking, and I was fortunate enough to lead a few in-person clinics with smokers trying to quit. Again, we were hired by corporations through their HR, come in, please offer this clinic to my employees looking to quit. So I got to go in and I'll explain, a little bit more about the clinic. It was, 8 sessions over 7 weeks, and I had a lot of great people in there, doing their best to quit tobacco. And I had a young mother. She had an infant that had really tough respiratory issues. And the mother, after going through the sessions and finding out more about her and working on a quit plan with her and looking at what her triggers are, what her behaviors, she smoked in every room in the house. It didn't matter that she had an infant at home. Just complete exposure secondhand, all she cared about was the cigarettes. Not even having a newborn, could affect her behaviors and affect her addiction. And it wasn't until, 3 or 4 sessions in where she could step out of the learned behaviors, right? Because smoking is a learned behavior and reinforced over many, many years, where she could actually step back and look at what she was doing and look at how it was affecting her family, and specifically her newborn baby, who had all kinds of illnesses and ear infections and respiratory infections from being exposed to secondhand smoke, and just a total breakthrough. And she became a champion of the clinic and a champion of being a non-smoker and working, to do her best to do that. But it took about 3 to 4 weeks to come to that realization, to see what she was actually doing, not only to herself, but to her child and her family and her home. Sometimes we think it's easy and people know why they want to quit or why they should quit, and sometimes the addiction is just too powerful. And I heard it said when I was sitting out there earlier that the cigarette is, becomes your best friend. And why are you going to part with your best friend? And if you're going to do that, what happens? And going through the stages of grief, and it's like losing a loved one, right? And having to really go through that entire grief cycle. And so it takes a lot of effort and a lot of realization and a lot of counseling and a lot of help to get there. Okay. Electronic cigarettes. I know we're a little pressed for time, so I'm not going to go into this too in depth. I do have a fact sheet for Delaware and a fact sheet for New Jersey, specifically on electronic cigarettes, with a lot of references and places you can go and find more research. I think they're sitting on the table just outside this room. So if you really want to dive into it, definitely take a fact sheet with you. Real briefly about electronic cigarettes. right? They're devices where you inhale vapor containing nicotine or other substances, other juices. They're battery operated, right? They have an atomizer that heats up the liquid, and then it becomes this aerosol that, spray that goes in your mouth. In the class of e-cigarettes, when we talk about e-cigarettes, we also talk about e-hookahs, e-pens, e-cigars, all that we hope will be, subject to FDA oversight at some point. As of now, the studies are still ongoing. There's about 500 different types of vaping devices on the market today, 8,000 different juices. There were some initial studies in 2009 conducted by the FDA, and there were some chemicals identified, cancer-causing chemicals specifically. And we'll go through a couple of those chemicals. I'll show you on the next slide here. So 42 chemicals have been identified in e-cigarettes. The chemicals in red are emitted from the secondhand vapor, the secondhand smoke from e-cigarettes. Okay, and those are the other known chemicals. So there are cancer-causing chemicals in there. Yeah. And these have been identified, and they're just, it's still being studied and looked at. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you could have a presentation specifically on e-cigarettes and talk about it for an hour with everything, all the studies and everything that's going on and people's experiences, using e-cigarettes. And it's a great topic. It's a fascinating topic. It's an ever-changing topic. The position of the American Lung Association is that there's no safe cigarette, okay, whether it's a tobacco cigarette or an electronic cigarette. The health consequences of the vapor are unknown. There isn't the evidence now out there that has been published yet. There's no brand of e-cigarettes that's even been submitted to the FDA for evaluation. No evidence that the vapors emitted by e-cigarettes are safe for non-users to inhale. Okay. Again, no e-cigarette has been FDA approved as an effective method to help any smoker quit. Use of e-cigarettes supported the, continued addiction, right? If you're trying to really break the addiction to cigarettes, picking up an e-cigarette does not break the physical addiction to smoking, does it? Right? You might pick it up less often, but the addiction is still there. The action, the learned behavior is still there. You're not breaking it. And certainly behavioral, psychological, it's all still there, okay? E-cigarettes can promote dual use of tobacco products, okay? So, these are some examples: cigarettes and smokeless, cigarettes and cigars, and you can look down: e-cigarettes and cigars, e-cigarettes and smokeless, potentially for using tobacco in different forms along with the e-cigarette. And we've heard, my experience working with smokers, some of them will pick up the e-cigarette and say, oh, I'm using the e-cigarette and only, smoking the tobacco cigarette, this many times. And so it's dual usage, just taking on different forms, but not really getting rid of the addiction. Again, the American Lung Association has seen the best evidence to individuals becoming tobacco-free, reducing their dependence on tobacco by a form of counseling and medication. Okay, lots of options available that were in your handouts. We discussed the in-person cessation, one-on-one, telephonic, web-based, mobile texting, self-help booklet. Like, there's a range of resources out there, and you have them, but definitely, be aware of them. And there's not one good fit for every person trying to quit smoking, and some people like a combination. I have a lot of people who've gone through the in-person classes and then like to go to the online versions. They can go through all the learning modules again at their own pace, in the privacy of their own home or apartment, and really, go through everything again. So, just know that there's a variety out there, and not everything works for everyone. Okay, this is the Freedom from Smoking group the American Lung Association offers. That the clinics I ran when I first started, 8 sessions over 7 weeks. Quit day is not until week 4. So sessions 1 through 3 are the preparation phase, looking at the behaviors, looking at triggers, looking at your smoking patterns during the work week and on your weekend. Okay, I had a woman who she could get through the work week. As soon as Saturday hit, she didn't have a plan, right? She wasn't prepared what to do on Saturday when she had all this free time and she was trying to quit smoking. So we look at that, we develop individual quit plans, and then sessions 5 to 8 are the maintenance phase. Again, this is in person. Maintenance phase being, looking at healthy eating, looking at physical activity, looking at, those high stress situations and knowing how to react in those situations, having a plan, and then looking ahead to staying tobacco free months later, a year later. Okay. Quit line services, again, are available nationwide. They do vary somewhat state to state. Web-based cessation programs determined to quit freedom from smoking, we've touched on. Mobile texting, okay? For some people, this is going to work really well, others not so much. The National Cancer Institute, again, you have the handout. Just know it's a great free resource to sign up for the mobile texting program, mobile text cessation. Okay. Quitter Circle, it's an app. You'd build your own quit plan. You have access to physicians. You track progress, send out alerts when help is needed, when support is needed. It's connected to Facebook and Twitter as well. It's a great app for those smokers looking to, quit smoking and use that format, that style. Okay, support between sessions after course completion as well. All right. More on Quitter Circle there with Facebook and Twitter. Okay. Self-help guide from the American Lung Association. It's freedom from smoking again. Okay. This is the handout that you have on the teen cessation options. Thank you. Okay. And I know Dr. Leone touched on the pharmacotherapy. Know that there's 7 forms, right? 4 are prescription, 3 are over the counter. 2 of the prescription forms contain nicotine, and all 3 of over-the-counter forms of NRT contain nicotine as well. Okay. This slide I find really helpful and interesting. This is about identifying the level of nicotine currently being used by the smoker each day. So you can look here, 1 cigarette, about 1 milligram of nicotine they're getting through that cigarette. You can look at a can of dip and how many milligrams they're getting through a can of dip. An hour-long hookah session, 1 large cigar, 1 cigarillo, 1 gram of pipe tobacco, or e-cigarettes. We have our unknown, right? And we have our 8,000 juices, 500 devices. But I find this slide to be both helpful and fascinating. Okay. When talking a little bit more about pharmacotherapy, 12 weeks is what is advised. Now, if you're getting it for free through the quit line, it's not always 12 weeks. I think Pennsylvania, I think it was 8, and maybe it's been reduced to 6 weeks. I'm not 100% positive. I think it just depends on funding stream and what's available. But certainly, that's the recommendation. Certainly higher doses for your heavier smokers of nicotine replacement therapy, and tracking those at risk for relapse for 6 or more months. And those, higher at-risk patients with persistent strong urges, higher dependence, right? Maybe psychiatric illness, past substance abuse, unable to quit on a target date, sort of just establish that quit date, just, potential people for relapse, higher risk 6 months out. Okay, getting to refer, and we're going to speed up just a little bit. I know it's about lunchtime, and I want you to get engaged and do a little activity. To refer, ask the patient if he or she would like to be referred to a program that could assist them with developing a quit plan, right? Not all patients are going to be ready when we ask them. Refer the patient, client to local programs, quit lines, websites, right? The more resources you have at your disposal, the better. So hopefully you have a few tools today to go back and be able to refer people to. Okay? If the patient's not willing, not ready to make a quit attempt, you certainly understand where they're at, right? Be understanding about it, and let them know that you're always there to answer those questions and make those referrals and help them identify local cessation options. Okay? And this is the one pager we went through in the beginning. Okay, practice time. All right, so you have a sheet in front of you, a handout, and you have, what, about 10 people in different situations there. And what I would like you to do in a short amount of time, just want to find my little cheat sheet for instructions here. Here we go. Okay, so what we're going to do at our tables, or if you want to join another table, I would like you to split off in groups of 2. You each have your Ask, Advise, and Refer guidance document. That was the top sheet in your paper clipped handouts. And you have your Tobacco Resource one-sheeters. What I'm going to do is walk around and give you 2 patients. From this list, it's double-sided. So there's Eugene and Chris, there's Jeannie and Rick, Tom and Peter, Joyce and Jen, Tanya and Jean. And I'd like you to work with a partner, somebody next to you, across from you, and use the AAR brief intervention model, right, the first sheet that you have, as your guidance document, and work with that patient. One person takes on the role of patient, other is, right, doing the AAR intervention model. And then you can switch roles and you can do the other. Okay, is everybody clear, okay, with the instructions? Okay, so I'll just go around and I'll give you names. We can do Eugene and Chris, if 3 of you are working together, okay. You 2, Jeannie and Rick, okay. The 3 of you, Joyce and Jen, or do you have a partner here? Okay, Joyce and Jen here, Tanya and Jean, for you 2. Are you 3 working together? Okay, Tom and Peter, okay. Eugene and Chris, awesome, thank you, ladies. Ladies, can I have you do Janine and Rick? Thank you. Okay. And the lozenge, the gum, and the spray has been over the counter for a number of years. I don't know exact the amount of, the patch, yeah, is over the counter. Yeah. So CVS is a great proponent of the nicotine replacement therapy. They got rid of tobacco from the shelves and they propose, yeah. But yeah, they're a big partner of the ALA, and they do a lot around cessation. Yeah, it's just been about a year now. They removed tobacco from their shelves completely, so it's a big, yeah, every store. But ladies, if I can have you 2 do Tom and Peter. Are the 3 of you working together? Okay. Do you want to do Joyce and Jen? Okay. All right. Ladies, could I have you do Tanya and Janine? Would that be all right?
Yeah.
Do you have? Do you have the handouts? Do you want to participate? Oh, your staff. Yes. Well, it's totally up to you. All right. Yeah. I won't put you on the spot then. Okay. Are you staff as well? Okay. All right. You get off the hook this time. Next time it won't be so easy.